Hi, my name is Chloe and I live in a 22-foot school bus with my dog Mochi, and today we are talking about budgets and the cost of living in a school bus. The first thing we're going to talk about is gas. So this vehicle does about 10 miles to the gallon, and I drive between 200 to 600 miles per day when I'm traveling full-time. I drove from Pennsylvania directly to Colorado in 12 days, and that cost me $400 in gas. When I drove, that was January of 2020. Let me check my notes. Yes. In November of 2021, I drove back to Pennsylvania, but I went up through Michigan, and that price was about $700 in gas. That took me 14 days. Another thing to think about as far like a driving expense is tolls. I was on the Ohio Turnpike and the Pennsylvania Turnpike for my road trips, and the total price of both of those was $80. You are also going to have to pay to cross over bridges, and the price for a larger vehicle is usually more expensive. Anywhere from $5 to $10 per bridge is a good guesstimation. Camping and campsite apps. So if you're using an app to help you find campsites, those are, sometimes subscription based. The one that I have used in the past was $20. And I don't think I would pay for it again because there are plenty of free ones, but it was a nice peace of mind. I could also put in the dimensions of my vehicle so that it wouldn't take me under any low bridges or things like that, but I haven't had trouble with that since not using that app. So sort of up to you whether you want to do that or not. Campsites can be anywhere from $20 to $50. So if you're planning on free camping the whole time, that's great. I usually do a combination of both. When I need electric, water, shower, laundry, I pay for a campsite to sort of embody all of those expenses into one lump sum. My diesel heater runs 24/7 most months in the wintertime. And this month in February, I paid $230 for off-road diesel, and my expense, it was $50 this month. It's been $30 in the past when I wasn't running it full-time. That gives you a good range. If you don't have a shower in your vehicle, I do not, and it's too cold to use a bucket shower, and you're not at a campsite, you might want to look into gas stations. Flying J and Love's usually have showers for $3 to $5, or you could get a gym membership for about $20. Make sure you look into the sort of stipulations of canceling that membership, because sometimes they make it difficult for you to do so. But that was a really nice luxury, is just being able to look up where our next gym was. All the showers were always really nice, and it was sort of fun getting to go to different showers. And it was a good peace of mind because that expense was already done. We had already paid the $20. I didn't have to think about every time I paid for a shower how much I was paying for that shower. Campsites also have showers, so if you're paying for a campsite, that cost sort of goes into the cost of your campsite. Nice thing to think about. Laundry goes into campsites. So if you're not paying for any camping, if you're doing free camping the whole time, you might have to pay $5 to $10 per load of laundry. I do maybe 2 loads a month. If we're traveling, I sort of just put it off as long as possible, and usually don't have to do it for 2 weeks. And my road trips have been 2 weeks or less, so I've been able to just get to my destination and then do laundry once I get there. But if you're traveling in the off season, always call your campsite to see what facilities are available, because sometimes they shut the water off, sometimes there's only certain sites that have electric, sometimes they don't have laundromats or showers whatsoever, so make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into it. The other thing I ran into is passcodes on the bathrooms. So I've mostly traveled in the off season, and there was a time where I had to get a passcode from the lady on the phone, or else I wouldn't have been able to get into the bathroom. So make sure you call ahead just to get all the information that you need from your campsite. Sorry, that was a little bit of a little bit of a tangent from budgeting, but we can talk about food next. I think for one person, cooking cooking all of the things that I eat in this school bus, $500 a month is a good assumption. That is usually what I stay right around. I don't eat out hardly ever. So yeah. Other cost of eating is propane. These 1 pound cans that run my camp stove are $5 a piece, and I use about one a week, maybe a little bit more. So that shakes out to like, let's say 25 or $30 a month for the propane. Filling up water, if you are not at a campsite, you can do at most grocery stores. I would ask some locals which grocery stores have it, because it's not available everywhere. It's usually $1 or $2 a gallon at those Primo water fillers, which I think Lowe's actually has those as well. I can't speak for Home Depot. It might be a hardware store thing. The Primo ones are $1.50 a gallon, so that is going to be a cheap expense, but an expense nonetheless. Insurance on the bus is $42 a month because it is registered as a motor home, and the price of insurance on motorhomes is very cheap, so that's very good. But internet is something that you want to think about. A hotspot device can run anywhere from $100 to a couple $100, and sort of the same for the cost of the service. I think the cheapest option I found through my provider was $60 a month, and then depending on how much internet you need, it can be hundreds of dollars. I just use the hotspot add-on that comes with my phone plan. That's $5 a month, and it is not a lot. I definitely couldn't stream a whole lot. I couldn't do like video calls or anything like that. If you do that for work, that probably wouldn't be enough for you. The next few things that I'm going to talk about are categories that I give myself a budget for. So they're sort of like a sliding scale. I could spend a ton of money in these categories, but I choose not to in order to keep my expenses low. One of those things is park entrance fees and tours. Usually $20 to $30 per thing, per car, per tour, per person on the tour. Next is souvenirs. I have a problem, but I usually pick one thing and I stick to that thing, and I try not to get multiples of the same, park or the same attraction. Like wherever we are, I get either a magnet or a sticker, which are the cheapest ones that you can get, unless there's a hat with a bison embroidered on it and I cannot resist it. So that type of thing, I give myself like a $50 budget per trip, depending on how long the trip is. The last and arguably the most important thing to budget for is fixing things. So especially in a self-built rig, a lot of stuff's gonna break. Okay, not a lot. Let's not be doomsday over here. But in my travels, I have had to get a new sink. I've had to get a new diesel heater. I've had to get an engine diagnostic, all of which was like between $100 and $200. Super unexpected. Didn't plan for that, but it was really smart of me to have a little bit of savings, like an emergency fund every month. That $100, $200, I would say at least $100 goes into that emergency fund every single month. It also is good for if Mochi gets an ear infection or an eye infection, like whatever, if she has to go to the vet, something like that, I have that, and it doesn't have to come out from any other part of my budget. It's already there. So there's a really big scale of how much this lifestyle costs. For my preferences and the things that I just listed, I think the cheapest you could probably do it is like $1,000 a month, all the way up to $3,000 if you're choosing to spend every single night in a $50 campsite. It's not something that I do because I think it's a little bit frivolous as far as my needs are concerned. So that is it. If you have a question that you would like me to answer, you can leave a comment. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see me again next week, you can subscribe. So that is all from me and Mochi, and we'll see you next week.